Hello there, you're watching Nightline. I'm Azara Tagaya. The top stories. Malaysia announces 14 new cases of COVID-19. And Johor's Pemanis Assemblyman quits PKR. Good morning. The Health Ministry has confirmed a new COVID-19 cluster which involves 14 new confirmed cases in Malaysia, bringing the tally to 50. This cluster, in addition to the 7 cases announced yesterday, are all linked to patient 26, an UDA Holdings Berhad board member who tested positive on March 1st. According to Health Director General Datuk Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah, all of the new COVID-19 patients were first and second generation cases linked to patient 26. Based on investigations, 215 individuals were traced as close contacts of that particular patient. They were found to have been involved in several activities or events with him from February 21st to 27th. From the total, 16 individuals were tested positive for the virus, 19 were negative, while 180 were still awaiting test results. 5 other patients became infected by those of the 16 cases and were not close contacts of patient 26.
I don't call it a super spreader yet because super spreader, if you look into the city of Daegu, the person, in fact, the case 31 in Korea infected more than 1,000 patients. Here, only 16 patients that we are confirmed are infected by case 26. I would say probably extraordinary compared to other patients, but we are tracing it. So the good thing is that we are able to isolate this patient as soon as possible.
He added that investigations on the cluster were ongoing, with the ministry urging all parties to remain calm and cooperate by providing accurate information when identified and contacted as close contacts. Datuk Dr. Nur Hisham also said the ministry, in collaboration with the private sector, would be offering a COVID-19 detection service to members of the public who wish to be tested. FELCRA Berhad, another government-linked company, has directed all its employees to work from home after one of its directors tested positive for COVID-19. In a statement on Wednesday, its Chief Executive Officer Muhammad Nazrul Izzam Manso, however, assured that the situation is currently under control and that none of the company's staff has shown any symptoms of the infection. Wisma FELCRA Berhad in Setapak Jaya has been closed beginning Wednesday until March 6th to make way for cleaning and sanitization works. The management has taken precautionary measures to ensure the maximum level of cleanliness and that a healthy environment is maintained at the premises. However, operations at regional and district levels continue as usual. FELCRA has also identified employees who came into direct contact with the person concerned and sent them for a health screening at a nearby hospital. They are now awaiting the test results. It is understood that the director concerned was present at Wisma FELCRA on February 25th. Elsewhere, in China, data continues to show that the outbreak there is slowing down. There were 119 new confirmed cases to the end of March 3rd, compared with 125 the day before. An additional 38 people died on March 3rd, bringing the death toll in mainland China to 2,981. China has now had 80,270 cases since the virus first appeared in Wuhan late last year. Iran's health ministry said the coronavirus has killed 92 people, up from 77 the day before, amid 2,922 confirmed cases across the country, including top leaders within the Islamic Republic's government. Iran, however, stands alone in how the virus has affected its government, even compared to hard-hit China, the epicenter of the outbreak. The number of confirmed coronavirus cases in Germany has increased to 240. Officials say 15 of Germany's 16 states have now reported cases of the virus, with North Rhine-Westphalia being the most affected. Argentine Health Minister Ginés González Garcia has confirmed the South American country's first case of the fast-spreading new coronavirus. The patient, a 43-year-old man, arrived in Argentina on March 1st after a 2-week trip that included northern Italy. India's health minister has announced that 14 out of 21 Italian tourists have tested positive for the coronavirus. The total number of cases in the country now stands at 28. Chile on Tuesday reported its first confirmed case of coronavirus in the country, reportedly from a doctor who had travelled to Singapore. The patient is a 33-year-old man in the city of Talca, south of Santiago. In the meantime, the May 9th Dewan Rakyat sitting has been postponed to May 18th. Dewan Rakyat Speaker Tan Sri Muhammad Arif Muhammad Yusof said he has received the letter of notification calling for the sitting of the Dewan Rakyat, which was signed by the Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah is expected to grace the opening ceremony at 10 a.m. on May 18th. The first meeting of the Dewan Rakyat will proceed for 15 days until June 23rd, while the second meeting will convene for 15 days starting July 27th until August 27th. The final session of the Dewan Rakyat for the year will be held for 36 days from September 28th to November 26th, with the annual budget to be tabled on October 2nd. Meanwhile, PAS said it has full faith in newly appointed Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin to appoint the right people to his cabinet. Its President, Datuk Sri Abdul Hadi Awang, in a statement on Wednesday said, although PAS had not set any conditions or make any demands for the cabinet posts, it appreciates the Prime Minister's efforts to consult and consider the party's views in the selection process. However, he had recommended that only those of integrity and have qualifications and skills would be appointed to the posts. He also proposed the establishment of ombudsmen in the government administration. This is as it is important for the Prime Minister to engage professionals who are able to assist the government in improving the country's current economy, education, health and people's welfare. All political parties aligned to the ruling Perikatan National Coalition will set up a joint secretariat following the change of the federal administration. UMNO Secretary-General Tan Sri Anwar Musa said the composition of the joint secretariat will include Secretaries-General of political parties aligned to the new federal administration. Apart from establishing a Perikatan national roadmap as well as enhancing political cooperation among the parties ahead of any election and by-election, Tan Sri Anwar said the Joint Secretariat will also serve as a platform for them to coordinate work as well as services for the people.
Cuma saya dimaklumkan bersatu mungkin perlu masa sehari dua untuk menetapkan siapa sekjen dia, kerana difahamkan ada timbul sikit question mark tentang kedudukan sekjen mereka, tapi itu purely their internal party matters.
Tan Sri Anwar also said despite the formation of the Joint Secretariat, UMNO's cooperation with its three allies under Barisan Nasional and political cooperation with PAS under the Muafakat National Charter remains intact. Johor's Pemanis Assemblyman from PKR, Dr. Chong Fat Ful, has resigned from the party. Dr. Chong, aged 60, said he has signed a statutory declaration in support of the new coalition headed by Menteri Besar Datuk Hasni Mohamad. According to Dr. Chong, he has now become an independent assemblyman who supports the Gabungan Baru government. His decision now changes the state's composition, with the Gabungan Baru coalition now having 29 assemblymen compared with 27 from Pakatan Harapan in the 56-seat State Legislative Assembly. Meanwhile, the new Johor State Executive Council lineup is expected to take their oath of office this Friday once their appointments have been given consent by Sultan of Johor, Sultan Ibrahim Almarhum Sultan Iskandar. Johor Menteri Besar Datuk Hasni Mohamad said each political party in the Gabungan Baru coalition has submitted their choice of candidates for shortlisting before they are to be presented to Sultan Ibrahim. This would be the third State Exco lineup to be named in Johor since the 14th general election. In Pulau Pinang, State Health Committee Chairman Dr. Afif Bahardin has submitted his resignation as a State Executive Council member on Wednesday. This was confirmed by Chief Minister Chow Kon Yeow at a press conference after chairing the weekly State Executive Council meeting. Chow said the Seberang Jaya Assemblyman met him at 8:15 a.m. prior to the State Executive Council meeting to inform him about the matter. Chow added he tabled Dr. Afif's resignation letter during the State Executive Council meeting and it was accepted by all the State Exco members. The Chief Minister also said the Yang di-Pertua Negeri will also be notified on the matter and the vacated post will be filled soon. Meanwhile, at a press conference at his residence, Dr. Afif admitted the decision to relinquish his post came after he had been pressured to do so by the party leadership at the national and state levels. This following the internal political crisis within the party and allegations from some quarters who consider Dr. Afif to be part of sacked PKR Deputy President Datuk Seri Muhammad Azmin Ali's camp.
Saya dengar memang ada desakan dan saya lihat, saya monitor beberapa hari yang lepas memang ada desakan daripada pimpinan negeri dan juga pusat untuk supaya saya dikenakan tindakan, termasuklah pemecatan sebagai Exco. Tapi sebab itu bila Ketua Menteri panggil dan berjumpa, saya terima pandangan, saya juga bersedia dan saya anggap ini harga yang perlu saya bayar untuk mempertahankan apa yang saya perjuangkan selama ini.
However, Dr. Afif maintained that he is still a PKR member and will remain as a Seberang Jaya Assemblyman under the Pakatan Harapan state government. In Kedah, Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Mukhriz Tun Mahathir has denied claims that his government was in a worrying situation. He said the state government has, since November 2018, been functioning on 20 state seats, 19 state assemblymen and 1 speaker. As such, he said there was no need to coerce his assemblymen into signing any statutory declaration to prove their support towards him.
Kita tak perlu untuk memaksa mana-mana pihak untuk menandatangani SD. Sebenarnya SD ni tak laku. Kalau tengok di peringkat nasional pun, saya tahu bahawa ada orang yang sign SD belah ni, lepas tu dia lompat belah sana, lepas tu dia sign satu lagi SD menyatakan SD hak tadi tu dah tak laku. Lepas tu boleh patah balik. So 2 kali lompat. Jadi maksudnya memang tak ada makna SD. Akhirnya ke bawah Yang Mulia Tuanku Agong titahkan supaya semua ahli-ahli parlimen ni berjumpa secara bersemuka. Yang tu yang terpakai. SD sebenarnya tak ada makna.
Datuk Seri Mukhriz said this after chairing the State Executive Council meeting at his office in Wisma Darul Aman on Wednesday. On Tuesday, Datuk Seri Mukhriz said he would continue to helm Kedah as an opposition state. There were enough state seats to retain the Pakatan Harapan Bersatu government in Kedah. Former Attorney General Tan Sri Tommy Thomas has cited change in the country's political leadership as the reason for his resignation. Speaking to a news portal on Wednesday, he said his position as AG was a political appointment made by former Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. He was quoted as saying that it was incumbent for him to resign following the change in political leadership to allow the incoming Prime Minister to appoint his own AG. This was in accordance with the tradition practiced in the United Kingdom and other mature democracies. Tan Sri Thomas added he planned to take a break and expressed gratitude to Tun Dr. Mahathir for giving him the opportunity to serve the country. The former AG was appointed to the post in 2018 after Pakatan Harapan won the 14th general election. He handed his resignation letter to Tun Dr. Mahathir on February 28th after serving for 21 months. Coming up, a woman arrested for threatening to kill Prime Minister. Details next. Back on Nightline, Malaysia has recorded a trade surplus of 12 billion ringgit in January 2020, up 4.2% from 11.52 billion ringgit during the same period last year. According to the International Trade and Industry Ministry, MITI, this was the highest monthly trade surplus for the month of January since January 2011. Total trade this month, however, amounted to 156.17 billion ringgit, a contraction of 2% from 159.3 billion ringgit. Exports totaled 84.08 billion ringgit, registering a marginal decrease of 1.5% from 85.41 billion ringgit. Imports slipped by 2.4% to 72.08 billion ringgit from 73.89 billion ringgit previously. Manufactured exports, meanwhile, grew 1.1% to 71 billion ringgit, accounting for 84.4% of the total exports. The main contributors to the increase were petroleum products, iron and steel products, rubber products, followed by machinery, equipment and parts. Tenaga Nasional Berhad TNB via its wholly owned subsidiary Tenaga Wind Ventures UK Limited has acquired the remaining 20% interest in two United Kingdom renewable energy companies for £18.6 million in cash. The acquisition of GVO Wind and Bloomerang Capital was initially agreed in the share purchase agreements signed with the sellers. With this acquisition, TNB now owns the entire asset and control over the two companies and their respective assets via Tenaga Wind. These companies are the largest feed-in tariff wind portfolio in the UK, comprising 53 operational onshore medium wind turbines with a total combined capacity of 26.1 megawatts. The latest acquisition would also form the base of TNB's international renewable energy business going forward. A woman has been arrested by police for posting a comment on social media about wanting to kill the newly appointed Prime Minister. Selangor CID Chief Datuk Fazil Ahmad said the 28-year-old suspect was picked up in Ampang Jaya on March 2nd. Authorities also seized a handphone to facilitate investigations. The suspect, who works at a clinic, posted the comment on a Facebook Live video showing Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin being sworn in as the 8th Prime Minister on March 1st. The case is being investigated under the Penal Code and the Communications and Multimedia Act. In Selangor, a man was charged in the Klang Magistrates Court on Wednesday with cheating by offering his victim a Datuk Sri title from the Perak Palace last month. The accused, 26-year-old K. Tangeshwaran, however, pleaded not guilty when the charge was read before Magistrate Roslizi Sulaiman. Tangeshwaran allegedly committed the act by convincing the victim, a local man, to hand over 7,000 ringgit into the bank account of the accused to get the title on February 11th. He also duped the victim into believing that he will receive a monthly allowance of 15,000 ringgit once he was given the title. However, after realizing he had been cheated, the victim lodged a police report on February 21st, which led to Tangeshwaran's arrest 4 days later. The charge under the Penal Code provides a maximum 10 years jail sentence, whipping and fine if convicted. The court then granted a 4,500 ringgit bail and fixed April 27th for remention of the case. In Johor, police are looking for 3 men in connection with a scuffle that occurred during their attempt to repossess a Toyota Hilux near Skudai on Tuesday. The case came to light after videos of the incident recorded by bystanders were uploaded and spread on social media. Clips of the incidents showed the Hilux owner and his wife as they were about to enter the vehicle at Jalan Sutra Tanjung. The 3 men then approached them at the driver's side door before pulling the owner out, leading to a scuffle. As the men tried to drive the pickup truck away, the owner's left hand gets stuck in the car door while he was trying to retrieve his personal belongings. It was understood that the owner was later admitted to a hospital to treat his injuries. The case is being investigated under the Penal Code for causing grievous hurt and intrusion. After the break, dozens dead after tornado rips through Nashville. On to the foreign front. In the U.S., a string of tornadoes tore through Nashville, Tennessee and surrounding counties early on Tuesday, killing at least 25 people and leaving others missing and reducing neighborhoods to rubble as voters across the state cast ballots in the Super Tuesday presidential primary. The storm struck as many were sleeping in Nashville, home to 691,000 people and one of the fastest growing cities in the United States. The National Weather Service said 8 tornadoes were believed to have touched down in Missouri, Tennessee and Kentucky, but that number could change following further analysis. It was not yet clear how many landed and a direct hit on Nashville. In addition to the fatalities, at least 30 people were injured and some 48 buildings were destroyed in Nashville, with many more damaged. Tens of thousands of people were also left without power. Over in Brazil, the heavy rains in Guarulhos, Sao Paulo state in the early hours of Tuesday have left at least 12 people dead and 46 missing. Officials said in addition to Sao Paulo, storms have also hit the state of Rio de Janeiro in recent days, leaving a trail of destruction and causing at least 5 deaths. Guarujá, Santos and São Vicente are the cities most affected by the intense rains. Hundreds of firefighters are working to help the victims and continue looking for the missing, mostly people who were presumably buried by their homes or landslides. According to the Rio Operations Centre, between Sunday and Monday, it rained more than half of the average forecast of the month of March across the city. Now, before we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a look at what's been installed on the front pages of Malaysia's main newspapers on Thursday, March 5th. First up, the New Straits Times NST. The NST puts the spotlight on the second wave of COVID-19 outbreaks in Malaysia. The nation's best-selling Malay newspaper, Harian Metro, also focuses on patient 26 and the sudden spike in COVID-19 cases in the country. Berita Harian highlights on Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin's new cabinet lineup as there are still 16 vacancies to fill in as ahli Dewan Negara or senators. With the report of flight cancellations due to the COVID-19 taking the front page of the Malaysian Reserve, be among the first to get your copies. And now, as we wrap up Nightline, this time around, let's take a look as Chinese car maker Airways makes virtual debut after the cancellation of the Geneva Car Show following the COVID-19 outbreak. With that, I'm Azaria Tagaya. Thank you for watching and take care.